For this video, we're using my Line 6 Helix LT, and the sound is coming out of these speakers. It's an FR by Headrush, and the Roland KC. It's a small PA for house kind of volumes. It's not loud at all. Hey guys, the topic of today's video is feedback. What exactly is feedback? It's when it applies to electric guitars. You're playing notes on your guitar, sound comes out of the speakers, hits your instrument, and the strings resonate and generate a squeal, and it's a feedback loop. In theory, it sustains forever, the sound. So the first band that recorded feedback is the Beatles. I Feel Fine is the example everybody uses most of the time. And then it goes into etc. Jimi Hendrix, of course, took it to a whole new level. But the feedback came with the territory. In the 60s, bands needed to play loud on stage to be heard because the equipment was not adequate to produce that sound. So whatever was on the stage, that's what the audience heard at the concert. And that was why big loud amplifiers were created in the 60s. So nowadays, if you're seeing a show, most likely the wall of Marshalls is just decorations. It's fake. It doesn't really do anything. It's not even plugged in. It's the same thing as a smoke machine. It's just for the visuals. Most likely, if the band is actually using analog equipment, real tube amplifiers, the sound that you hear is coming from a little isolation box somewhere off the stage, maybe in the basement, maybe in the truck, a box where a speaker is stored, it's mic'd up, and that's the sound that travels to the front of the house, and that's what is mixed. And also, obviously, right now we are living in the golden age of guitars. All this technology, all the digital processors, speaker emulations that make it much easier and more consistent in terms of the predictability of how the band sounds night after night after night. And as a result, there's no need to blast the sound on stage anymore. There's no need to have these amplifiers. People don't go deaf. People use in-ears, and the sound guys love it because you don't need to compete with the stage volume. Nothing bleeds into the microphones. Everything is a lot more advanced nowadays. So this presents a problem. How do you convey this kind of attitude that your guitar is out of control and it's feeding back if you don't even have stage monitors anymore, right? If it's all in-ears, how do you create this beautiful, sound? And what I came up with is simply having a preset, or in my case, in Line 6 Helix terminology, it's called a snapshot. So whenever needed, I can invoke this out of control distortion, and I'm actually using, in conjunction with my regular distortion, I'm using another distortion that is simply maxed out, and it's so distorted that my guitar, without much encouragement, starts feeding back. Now I've been watching rig rundowns for a while, maybe about 10 years, and I've seen what other bands are doing. I know that, for example, Guns N' Roses, for Slash, it's all, like I said, isolation box off the stage, all in-ears, but at a certain point during the show, Slash, runs to a certain spot on the stage and holds the guitar next to a little speaker and gets feedback. So they actually put a little speaker for that one portion of the show to get feedback. I think it was for his guitar solo or something like that. And yeah, there's even effects that you can buy, little boxes that simulate feedback. But what I think makes the most sense for, most of us, bar bands, is to simply have an option of this out of control distortion that naturally turns into feedback. So it can be like, and you gotta understand, I'm not even like next to an amplifier like that. I can actually show you something. I can actually physically leave the room and it will still feedback. See, I'm physically in the kitchen at this point. So what you need to do is, what I need to do as well, is to dial in the sound so that it's obnoxious but not way out of control. And what I'm going to do is we're going to rehearse at the space that has a big stage. So it's a rehearsal room with a stage, and we're going to simulate the live show basically. And if it's too much, if the distortion level is too much, then I will have to dial it down. But basically, to summarize, what is going to happen is, even if I'm playing without the stage monitors, this sound that is coming from the PA speakers is going to feed back into my guitar. And the distortion is at such a high level that it will make my strings whistle, even though I'm not physically right next to an amplifier. So that's something to consider. Thank you for watching.